The relationship between the golden ratio and the pentagram. Each line and angle of the five-pointed star pentagram includes the proportions of the golden ratio. Let's see how they relate to each other in detail. 1. Five-pointed star structure. A pentagram consists of 5 lines that intersect with each other, thus creating sections of different lengths. These lines intersect in such proportions that the ratio of the resulting sections to each other follows the golden ratio. For example, if a line is divided into 2 sections inside the pentagram, the length of the longer section relates to the original complete line as the ratio of the golden ratio, 1 to 1.618. 2. Geometric proportions. The proportionality between the lines connecting each point of the five-pointed star also follows the golden ratio. If a pentagram is drawn in a circle, then the outer circle, the vertices of the star, as well as the inner star stems also comply with the rules of the golden ratio. Thus, the pentagram is a perfectly proportional geometric shape with internal harmony. 3. Angles and proportions. The angles at the vertices of the pentagram are also distributed according to the golden ratio. The inner angles of the pentagram are 36, 72, and 108 degrees, which also reflect the proportions according to the golden ratio. This mathematical perfection makes the pentagram special among geometric forms. Pythagoreans and the pentagram. The Pythagoreans, who formed the famous mathematical and philosophical school of ancient Greece, paid special tribute to the pentagram, because for them this symbol had not only spiritual, but also mathematical meaning. The Pythagoreans believed that the fundamental structure of the world was based on mathematical relationships, and that harmony and perfection were fundamental elements of the universe. The pentagram embodied just this harmony for them. Perfect proportionality. The pentagram, because of the golden ratio, was for them a manifestation of mathematical perfection. Geometric proportions were interpreted by the Pythagoreans as part of the divine order, and in the pentagram they saw the inner harmony of the universe. Symbol of health and protection. The Pythagoreans also used the pentagram as a symbol of health and hygeia. The vertices and lines of the pentagram were depicted as health amulets, believing that the balance of the golden ratio brings harmony and protection to all areas of life. Golden ratio in nature and art. The golden ratio is found not only in the pentagram, but also in many natural forms, such as growth patterns of plants, proportions of the human body, and even animals. It has also long been used in art and architecture, as people find this ratio beautiful in aesthetic terms. Greek temples, the works of Leonardo da Vinci, or Renaissance architecture all use the golden ratio to achieve aesthetic perfection. Summation. Thus, the pentagram is a symbol of the golden ratio, since its structural proportions follow the laws of the golden ratio, which reflect the harmony of nature and mathematics. That is why the Pythagoreans considered this form as a manifestation of the perfection of the universe, and used it in their spiritual and philosophical teachings. The relationship between the golden ratio and the pentagram shows a deep mathematical relationship that is aesthetically appealing to the human eye and occurs in many places in nature. The hexagram and the unicursal hexagram are two different geometric forms with deep symbolic meaning, which play a significant role in occultism, religious symbolism, and esotericism. Comparing the two hexagram forms, traditional and unicursal, helps to understand the differences and similarities between them. Let's look at both symbols in detail, their history, meaning, and use, and then the differences between the two. Hexagram. The traditional six-pointed star history and origin. A hexagram is a six-pointed star consisting of two equilateral triangles inserted into each other. This symbol originated in antiquity and appeared in various cultures, religions, and traditions, including Hinduism, Judaism, Islam, and the occult. One of its best-known names is the Star of David, Hebrew, Magen David, a symbol of Judaism and an important symbol of Judaism. Symbolic meaning. The hexagram is a universal symbol that expresses duality, balance of opposites, and unity. It has different symbolic interpretations depending on the context in which it is used. 1. Symbolism of two triangles. One triangle, pointing upwards, is a symbol of fire, male energy, and spirit. The other triangle, pointing downwards, is a symbol of water, feminine energy, and the material world. The interweaving of the two triangles symbolizes the union of spirit and matter, the male and female principle, and the harmony of opposites. 2. The hexagram in occultism. In occult traditions, the hexagram is one of the strongest protective symbols. It is also used in Hermetic philosophy and alchemy, where the lower triangle represents the earthly and material world, while the upper triangle represents the heavenly and spiritual world. In alchemy, the hexagram symbolizes the unity and interaction of the worlds above and below. 3. In Judaism, the hexagram refers to the shield of King David and is one of the most recognizable symbols of Judaism. The six-pointed star is a symbol of divine protection in Judaism, carrying symbolism deeply rooted in Judaism. Using the hexagram, religious usage, primarily used in Judaism, where it is known as the Star of David. It can be seen on many Jewish temples, flags, and works of art. Occultism. The hexagram is often used in magical rituals as it is considered a powerful spiritual and energetic symbol. It is associated with the achievement of the astral plane and spiritual protection. Unicursal hexagram history and origin. A unicursal hexagram is a six-pointed star that can be drawn with a single continuous line, hence the name unicursal, with one line. This occult symbol is primarily associated with Thelema and its founder, Aleister Crowley, and the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn. Crowley developed the philosophy and religion of Thelema at the beginning of the 20th century, where the unicursal hexagram plays an important role. Symbolic meaning. The symbolism of the unicursal hexagram is closely related to universal forces, duality, and the unification of opposites, but it has a pronounced esoteric and magical meaning. 1. Single line. Because it can be drawn with a single line, the unicursal hexagram represents unity and completeness. The continuous line also symbolizes the infinity of the universe and divine unity, which cannot be broken. 2. Star angles. The form of the unicursal hexagram is closely related to the union of the spiritual and physical worlds. The angles formed by the lines represent energies that connect the material and spiritual planes. 3. Thelema and unicursal hexagram. In the philosophy of Thelema, the unicursal hexagram represents one's own spiritual path and will. According to the adherents of Thelema, man's main goal is to find the true will that is in harmony with the cosmic order. The unicursal hexagram in this sense symbolizes one's inner path and spiritual development. 4. Occult symbolism. Oh, the unicursal hexagram is sometimes supplemented by a pentagram drawn in the middle, or by a rose, from the Rosicrucian tradition, that carries additional spiritual meaning. This figure symbolizes a higher level of harmony in the union of opposites. Using the unicursal hexagram, occultism and rituals. The unicursal hexagram is primarily used in magical rituals, especially by followers of Thelema. The figure helps to control spiritual forces and achieve spiritual development. Symbolic character. It is also often used in the form of amulets and jewelry, as the hexagram is a symbol of spiritual protection and balance. Comparison between hexagram and unicursal hexagram. Features: hexagram, traditional, unicursal hexagram structure. 2 intertwined triangles. It can be drawn from a single, continuous line. Symbolic meaning: duality, male and female principles. Unity of spirit and matter. Unity, wholeness, individual spiritual path. Usage: religious, Judaism, occult, magical. Thelema, occultism. Magical rituals. Energy report connecting the upper and lower worlds. It is a symbol of the spiritual path of the infinite and the individual origin. Ancient, found in different cultures. Modern, primarily associated with Aleister Crowley forming method. It consists of 2 separate triangles, can be drawn with a single continuous line. Related culture: Judaism, alchemy, Hermetic traditions. Thelema, Hermeticus Arani Hagnal Rend. Summation: the hexagram and the unicural hexagram are symbolically and formally different, but both have a strong meaning in occultism. The traditional hexagram is an expression of duality and spiritual harmony, while the unicural hexagram emphasizes unity and individual spiritual development. Meaning of unicursal hexagram: the unicural hexagram is a 6-pointed star drawn by a single continuous line and closely related to Thelema and its philosophy. Its symbolism is complex, and themes of universal forces, the unification of opposites and cosmic harmony appear in it. The symbolism of the unicursal hexagram is 1. Single line. A unicural hexagram can be drawn with a single uninterrupted line, symbolizing the unity of the universe, the continuous flow of energy, and the uninterrupted path of one's true will. 2. 2 triangles. The traditional hexagram, consisting of 2 superimposed triangles, symbolizes the unity of opposites, the unification of spirit and matter, male and feminine energy. The upper and lower worlds. The unicural hexagram presents this union by intertwining it into a single line, thus emphasizing the perfection of balance between opposites. 3. Crowley and Thelema. Aleister Crowley considered the unicural hexagram to be a particularly important symbol in the religion of Thelema, as it serves as a symbol of individual spiritual development and universal order. The hexagram represents the human quest to find the true will in harmony with the higher order of the universe. Unicursal hexagram with pentagram. When the pentagram, 5-pointed star, is drawn in the center of the unicursal hexagram, its symbolism becomes even more complex and deep. This composition emphasizes the connection between individual spiritual power and the universe. Symbolic meaning. 1. Symbolism of the pentagram. Oh, the pentagram represents the balance of the 5 elements: earth, water, fire, air, and spirit, together with the unicursal hexagram. It shows the relationship and interaction of the macrocosm and microcosm. Oh, the pentagram represents individual strength and will, while the hexagram represents universal order and harmony. The pentagram drawn inside the unicursal hexagram is an expression of the interaction of these 2 forces. 2. The relationship between the individual and the universe. Oh, the unicural hexagram represents cosmic laws and universal forces, while the pentagram establishes a connection between human will, power, and the supernatural world. Oh, this symbol represents the central teaching of Thelema. One can find one's true will and live in harmony with the universe. The pentagram represents the inner strength of the individual. And the unicursal hexagram represents the order of the universe. Summation: Thelema's philosophy and religion focus on finding one's true will and following it. It is a spiritual path in harmony with the cosmic order and universal energies. The unicursal hexagram is a symbolic instrument in the Thelema religion that represents the union of opposites and universal unity. When the pentagram is placed in the unicursal hexagram, it symbolizes the connection between personal power and cosmic order, expressing the harmony of man and the universe. 1. Pentagram. Five-pointed star. A pentagram is a five-pointed star that can be drawn with 5 straight lines, without lifting a pencil. This distinctive five-pointed star has symbolic significance in different cultures and religions, but its most important feature is that it can be drawn with a single continuous line, which could technically be called unicursal. However, since the symbolism of the pentagram has long and widely been known, the name pentagram stands independently, and there is no need for a separate adjective, unicursal, to distinguish it. The structure of the pentagram is clearly drawn with a continuous line, which means that it is inherently unicursal. So the term unicursal pentagram would be redundant. 2. The term unicursal and the unicursal hexagram. The term unicursal hexagram is used because most hexagrams, such as the traditional 6-pointed star, cannot be drawn with a single line. A traditional hexagram consists of 2 superimposed triangles that must be drawn with separate lines. A unicursal hexagram, on the other hand, is a special hexagram that can be formed by a single, uninterrupted line. So here the adjective unicursal was needed to distinguish it from other hexagrams. Why is it not called a unicursal pentagram? The conceptual difference between the pentagram and the unicursal pentagram is related to their geometric structure and symbolic meaning. A pentagram is a 5-pointed star that can be drawn with 5 straight lines so that all lines are connected as one continuous line. Therefore, it is already a unicursal form, i.e., it can be drawn with a single continuous line. Historically and culturally, the term pentagram has already made this property quite clear. So the name, unicursal pentagram, has never been considered necessary to be introduced or widely used, since the pentagram by its nature can be drawn with one line. It is not necessary to call it a separate unicursal pentagram. The term unicursal is usually used when it comes to a more complex form that appears to consist of several lines, but can actually be drawn with a single, continuous line. This concept is especially important for the hexagram, because a traditional hexagram consists of 2 intertwined triangles that are separate, while a unicursal hexagram can be drawn with a single line. In the case of the pentagram, there is no such distinction, because it is basically a one-line, unicursal structure. So it is not necessary to add the adjective unicursal. The difference between pentagram and unicursal pentagram expressions arises from how the form and structure of the pentagram can be drawn and interpreted. Howard Stanton Levy, April 11, 1930 to October 29, 1997, was the founder of modern Satanism and one of the world's best-known and most controversial occultists. Levy is best known for founding the Church of Satan in 1966 and writing the book The Satanic Bible. These are the standard works of modern Satanism, and it was through them that Levy developed a new trend in occultism in the second half of the 20th century. Anton LaVey, early years. Levy was born in 1930 in the city of Chicago, but grew up in San Francisco, California. At a young age, He turned to different career paths. He worked in a circus, was a pianist, and reportedly also worked as a police photographer. His interest in mysticism and occultism manifested itself at an early age. He originally studied classical music, but later turned to a critique of human nature and social norms. Establishment of the Church of Satan, 1966. On April 30, 1966, Walpurgis Night, celebrated in pagan tradition. Anton LaVey officially founded the Church of Satan, which became the official organization of modern Satanism. LaVey's goal was to create a philosophical and religious movement that opposes Christianity, hypocrisy, and the hypocrisy of traditional religions. The Church of Satan does not worship a specific demonic being, as traditional Christian interpretation would suggest. Instead, it emphasizes human selfish instincts, individual freedom, and rationality. LaVey's philosophy and basic tenets of Satanism. Anton LaVey's Satanism is not Satanism in the demon-worshipping or theistic sense, but a philosophical, atheistic school that emphasizes individuality, free will, and self-interest. According to LaVey's Satanism, Satan is not a concrete being, but a symbol that embodies rebellion, the freedom of human nature, and the enjoyment of life. There are some key principles in LaVey's interpretation of Satanism. 1. Self-interest and individualism. The most important principle of Satanism is to put the individual first. LaVey believes that man's primary goal is to enjoy and exploit his own life without caring about others unless it serves his own interests. 2. Seeking pleasure. LaVey's Satanism does not consider it bad to enjoy earthly pleasures. Moreover, philosophy encourages people to enjoy life and carnal pleasures, as opposed to ascetic, self-denying religious teachings. 3. Relativity of evil. According to LaVey, the concept of evil is relative. In many cases, the wrong acts condemned by society are natural human behaviors that have been suppressed by Christianity and other religions. Satanism teaches that these instincts are natural and healthy when exercised within reasonable limits. 4. Dominance of the strong. Satanism holds that strong individuals should dominate the weak. According to the law of nature, the strong survive, and self-assertion is one of the fundamental elements of life. 5. He does not believe in the afterlife. LaVey's Satanism does not include otherworldly or reincarnation beliefs. He believes that life is the only reality, and therefore an individual should take advantage of every opportunity. The Satanic Bible. In 1969, LaVey published the Satanic Bible, which became the standard book of modern Satanism. The book combines LaVey's personal philosophy of emphasizing individuality, materialism, and strength, with occult elements and rituals and magic from various sources. The Satanic Bible consists of 3 parts. The Book of Satan. Here LaVey writes about his rejection of Christianity and traditional religions, and the nature of man as selfish and individualistic. The Book of Lucifer. In it, LaVey discusses his philosophical teachings, including self-assertion and rationality. The Book of Belial and the Book of Leviathan. These mainly include rituals and magical practices. The inverted pentagram and Baphomet. LaVey symbolically used the inverted pentagram and the Baphomet symbol, which is a goat's head in a 5-pointed star set downwards. This symbol, which has become one of the most recognizable symbols of modern Satanism, expresses a rebellion against the divine order and a questioning of Christian traditions. Anton LaVey's impact and legacy. Although LaVey faced many critics and enemies during his lifetime, it is undeniable that he had a profound influence on the history of occultism and alternative religious movements. Cultural impact. Levi and modern Satanism became known through numerous pop culture appearances, such as horror films, heavy metal music, and other media. The Church of Satan has attracted attention since its inception, and since then several splinter groups have emerged that have drawn on or developed Levi's teachings. Controversial figure. Levi's life and personality were controversial, and many criticized him for his showman attitude and various claims, such as that some of his stories were overly dramatized or that much of his work was intended to entertain audiences rather than serious religious teachings. Death. Levi died in 1997 at the age of 67. After his death, the Church of Satan continued to function, and his followers still adhere to his philosophy. The Satanism he created is still an important part of alternative religious trends and philosophies. Summation. Anton Levi's work made him one of the most influential figures in modern Satanism. Although his philosophy and teachings resonated, many people were attracted to the individualism, self-interest, and freedom he represented. Thelema's philosophy and religion. Thelema is a philosophical and religious system founded by Aleister Crowley, 1875–1947, a 20th-century occultist and writer. At the heart of Thelema is individual freedom, will, and spirituality, which must be found and followed in harmony with the cosmic order. The word itself comes from the Greek phrase, thelsma, thelema, which means will. The central teaching of Thelema is, do what thou wilt. The fundamental principle of Thelema is, do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. This means not merely free will, but finding and following one's deepest, highest inner intention, the so-called true will. The true will is not simply the satisfaction of desires or momentary desires, but the higher goal that must be achieved in one's life. In Thelema, this true will is in harmony with the order of the universe and the will of other people. Additional principles. Love is the law, love under will. This phrase expresses the relationship between love and will. According to Thelema, love can be the basis of all actions, as long as it is in harmony with the true will. Every man and every woman is a star. This principle means that each individual is unique and has his own universe, his own inner truth, will, and task that he must fulfill in his life. Thelema and Aleister Crowley. Aleister Crowley first formulated the principles of Thelema in his 1904 work, Liber al vel legis, the Book of the Law, which he himself regarded as divine revelation. The book contains the basic tenets of Thelema and, according to Crowley, was dictated to him by a higher spiritual being, Iwas, who was the spiritual mediator of the Thelema system. Crowley saw Thelema as a universal and timeless philosophy that connects ancient magical traditions with the spiritual needs of the modern age. Rituals and symbols of Thelema. Thelema devotees use many rituals and symbols to achieve spiritual development and true will. The most famous of them are pentagram rituals, protective rituals that invoke the energies of the five-pointed star, Unicursal hexagram, an important symbol symbolizing the balance of macrocosm and microcosm and the unification of opposites. If you liked it and would like more detailed descriptions, please subscribe and press like.